I dare say, I think people may not perish from pain as much as a lack of purpose.
Oh, totally agree.
If they don't find purpose beyond the pain. Hello, everybody, and welcome to podcast number 140 of the Gordon and Cherise Show. It is so good to be back with you, my silver fox, now my tiger. Yes, your name constantly, it keeps changing into all these amazing animals. I don't know what's going on.
We just have friends that are just giving me animal names, and I don't feel like I deserve Tiger whatsoever. I think of Tiger Woods. I'm more humble than that. He is the greatest golfer of all time, but the Tiger name has nothing to do with Tiger Woods.
No, I think it has to do with your pickleball game, actually.
Oh, I'm improving?
You're going for championship status, which is a miracle. That's a whole other podcast.
I have a long ways to go, Cherise. I have a long ways to go.
I'm proud of you that I think you're dealing with all the stress that I'm going through by going to pickleball and wearing your body out on that court. You're advancing. You're advancing. So it's amazing.
Well, let's get on with the podcast. What number is this?
140.
140. And what's the name?
It's, as of a few minutes ago, it got changed to the unintended consequences of cancer. Fantastic. Because thank you so much, Gordon, first of all, you and everybody who's watching for being a part of this journey. I am so grateful for the response. I'm so grateful that many of you who are listening have actually reached out to the doctors who have been on our podcast recently. So Dr. Eduardo and Marcia, as well as Dr. Terry Harmon, who has been on The Truth About Cancer. We've had some great talks with them, great information, great feedback on the root causes of cancer and the things that need to be exposed in order to really heal.
Right.
So we've been on this journey. You're on it with me.
Right. And we have some more doctors coming. We have a gentleman that works with neurofeedback. You met another functional medicine doctor. God keeps opening doors and bringing connections. We have another gentleman that also works with apologetics and large apostleship when you're talking about online messages for the gospel. I don't want to go too much into it, but we have a lot of people that are also touching suffering, healing, the importance of making changes with your life.
That's right.
Right now.
So we're bringing this community, and we didn't even force this. We haven't tried to make it happen. That's the beautiful part of it.
Seriously.
It's come together, and it's come together, and it's not about me. It's not about you. It's like it's come together to help everyone here who is listening, to give encouragement to each one of you, to let you see beyond your own limitations and your own pain, to say there's modalities and other dimensions of walking through the suffering, walking through pain, walking through disease, and overcoming. Like, our bodies are intended to heal, and healing may take time.
And part of that definition of healing is adaptability.
Right.
We're dealing with environmental toxins, infections, inflammations. We're dealing with different things in our lives. The stress load is unreal on people. And if they're dealing with a physical problem, they're also going to have an emotional problem.
True.
They're going to have mental chaos. They're going to have mental debris along the road of life that they're trying to journey. So it's not just one-dimensional.
Right.
It's multidimensional for most people dealing with pain, or let's say they're not dealing with acute pain. They're dealing with maybe some false hope, or they're bankrupt spiritually, or they're at a point of just dealing with the hard things in life.
Right.
Life presents hard things today for a lot of people. So our messages are full of hope, and they're full of real answers, real directions.
They're real.
And if the answers aren't there, the right questions are to lead people onto the right path.
I think my heart going through this cancer journey is, as I gain clarity through the journey, I want to bring clarity to everybody else. in theirs. I want to bring the hope of clarity.
That's
I may
right.
not have the answer to what somebody else is going through. I'm not the doctor, but I would say collectively, there are more answers than I even imagined possible.
You've grown tremendously through this journey with cancer, and you're handling it so well. So let's move on. What are some of the unintended consequences that you've seen?
I would say on a very bizarre, practically funny level, an unintended consequence happened this weekend. I don't know if you're expecting this conversation.
Actually, I'm not, Cherise.
But, okay, so this is just wanting to share with people that I have a weakness, and I'm going to confess this publicly. The weakness, well, besides this gorgeous beard that you're growing,
Stop.
It's for puppies. I love puppies.
Yes,
I look
you
at them all the time on Instagram. It drives you nuts. And as much as you look at pickleball on Instagram, I look at puppies. And I have so many reels that come up of puppies, and one in particular, a breeder, and this new litter that came out. When she posted something, I had never thought I was going to call this lady. It wasn't in my weekend plans, but I'll tell you, this one pup came up and I made a call. The dog, this litter is in Utah. Gordon, what I couldn't believe is that you're not in the market right now for a new animal. You're not in the market to do this. And you're so in love with me. You said, I'm going to get in the car and go to Utah, and I'm going to get that dog for you this weekend. And I couldn't believe the sacrifice. And you were so close to doing it. You had the Venmo account open. You were ready to pay the breeder. And I was literally going back and forth in this crazy state. Again, unintended consequence of cancer, like trying to make a decision. And honestly, some of the vulnerability of this decision is, I hope that I can be fully recovered from this cancer journey and live long enough to be with a puppy for the maybe 17 years that it lives. I couldn't believe how that fear came up.
17 years.
Oh, sorry. There was no disclosure to him, just for the record. Yeah. So anyway, I would definitely say that in your quest to find ways to love me when I know that it feels, I've been the caregiver. I know how helpless it can feel on this side on your side, trying to come along somebody and provide comfort when it feels impossible to do it. And so you were like, we'll get the dog. We'll get the dog. You're putting all of your needs aside to do this. And I'm like, but I don't know if I really want the dog, but I want the dog. And you had to put up with this for 2 days. Like, it drove you nuts. You're like, make a decision. Do you want the dog? You can have the dog. I'll give you the dog. Long story short, I ended up just at the very end telling the breeder, I can't make a decision. I don't think that this is right for the dog because I'm in a state of indecision and I'm pulled in 2 different directions. And I realized at that point, that's not a good time to make a decision when you can't make a decision. That's not a time to make a 17-year commitment. And then oddly enough, because we didn't get the dog, here's what came up in my spirit the next morning during prayer. And I think this is applicable to anybody listening. And this is what I want to share again with you. I shared it once, but I really want you to hear it too, Gordon, is that going through this time, I know you would do anything for me. And a decision to get a dog, that would be a very I decision. It would be for me. And
yes, it would.
It would. And there's nothing wrong with the comfort and the beauty that a creature provides. I love dogs. But in my spirit, for my life, and this is not talking about everybody else's decisions, this is my decision. I had to decide, what point in life am I at? Am I in an I time or am I in a we time? And the we, Gordon, begins with us, you and me. And you would do it for the I, you would do it for me, but you wouldn't get the dog for we because that's not what you're in the market to do right now. So
well, and
I chose we.
Yeah, you did choose we, and I think it's a cultural thing today. You know, one of the friends that nicknamed me Tiger, okay? His culture, Tiger is a very revered animal. But the point is they're used to we. They're used to family social structures that stay together for generations. Mm-hmm. Okay? In America, especially with chronic pain or difficult words like cancer, or you hear relatives with Alzheimer's, you hear different gigantic diagnosis, and the nomenclature of the diagnosis alone backs you away.
It can become very isolating.
And so I comes up huge with chronic pain.
Right. Can you heal like that?
It's more difficult to heal like that. And it takes a very strong person in their faith and their development to do that. Mm. There is a divine spark in all of us. But the appeal in our prayers, our Heavenly Father, don't let that divine spark, don't let me extinguish it. May it be reignited, because it's there. Even if we don't feel it, especially in chronic pain. People will ask, Gordon, what is your prayers like when you're not being physically miraculously healed today? Well, that's most people. Mm-hmm. It is, let's have that light, that fire, that Holy Spirit that's in me be reignited. And what parts of me do I have to hand over to God? Because when I return to Him, He returns to me. And that allows that we component to keep growing. That allows us to inspire others when we still have pain, when we still have a limp in life, when we're walking. That allows us to love people like we couldn't love before, even when our love is gone.
That's beautiful, Gordon.
Okay, so that makes a big difference, because with all of these things you're talking about with cancer, you're dealing with a paradox. Mm-hmm. Okay, we're making some different career decisions.
Well, explain the paradox. What is that? What do you see that paradox being?
Well, let's talk about right off the bat. It's either we need to be in the marketplace, even with chronic pain, and yet we need to be in the desert with God. So we need both things. We need to be amongst people and feel like we're purpose-driven, and that other times we need to be in that space where we're contemplative.
Sure.
And where it feels like, with chronic pain, it feels like you're all dried up. God is still there. But we have this going all the time. Life looks like this, but here's death. We have different variables going at one time against us.
I can tell you that another unintended consequence of what I'm going through is that I have this mortality motivation right now.
Yes, you do.
I really do. You see it. And through mortality motivation, I have never felt better about living. And it's so odd, because I think that sometimes when we just take life for granted and believe that it's kind of an endless supply of the days ahead, then we can just float, because there's no reason to be motivated to really live out your calling. And it can lead to a lot of procrastination. And the way that I've been living has been, really since COVID, I've been more isolated. I've been more stuck. I've been working around a kitchen island, hardly able to at times leave the house, just because I've kind of gotten in a rut. I've been collecting things. Like, I don't normally hoard all the time, but I've been collecting things and throwing things in a particular bedroom of our house, just not able to deal with stuff. I've been saving. I haven't had the grace to do some of the things I've been doing. As I've been dealing with this cancer, I think dealing with the fatigue that comes with it, I realize there's a version of me that doesn't exist anymore. And I don't know if she'll come back, but I have to embrace who I am today.
And what if she's intended not to come back?
Right.
I know with my chronic pain, after I had that first neck surgery, then the second, the third, the fourth, there was a part of Gordon that wasn't coming back. Who is the new Gordon?
He's a tiger.
Okay, he's a tiger. But I wanted to ask you this because I think a lot of audience members who have dealt with cancer or know someone with cancer, low energy is part of the reality of what people live through.
True.
How do you deal with your fatigue when you have no more energy? How does it affect you? Then how do you rise up from it? Or have you even risen up from it?
That's such a good question, Gordon. In my fatigue, I'm paying attention to it. I think first of all, instead of fighting it day and night, I'm acknowledging it. And by acknowledging it, it doesn't mean that I'm weaker. So it means that it's giving me an opportunity to work with the energy that I might get, even if it's very limited in a day, and optimizing that energy. So let me be very specific. I'm wearing this Oura ring because of Dr. Terry Harmon, and I noticed you have your wedding ring on and not your Oura ring on today.
Sorry, Dr. Harmon.
Well, this ring has taught me so much about the cycles of energy that I really do have. It records heart rate variability. It records my sleep patterns. It records so many things, and it's so useful on this journey to understand basically like the scientific readings behind it. So I'm watching this, understanding in my fatigue that the optimal time for me to go to bed right now is about 8:30 or 9. And that is literally when my body needs to wind down. So instead of pushing it to that 10 or 11 o'clock at night thing, instead of pushing it to that last Netflix episode that we're so tempted to watch, my body is saying, no, rest. So before I go to bed, I'm starting to read, and I might make it through 2 pages right now. I used to read a book. I could read half a book at night. I barely make it through 2 pages, but I'm so glad to make it through the 2 pages. I celebrate those 2 pages instead of cutting myself down about it.
Right. So you've learned how to monitor and acknowledge the fatigue.
I'm acknowledging it. I'm listening. I'm also working with my body instead of against it for the rest that it needs. I never wake up and feel like I am completely restored with fatigue. I don't right now in this season because of the immunotherapy I'm going through and other changes. I feel very supported in the supplements that I'm taking. I honestly have a lot of energy for what I'm fighting, but there is still a fatigue. How else do I deal with it? Do you want to hear the other ways?
Yes, I do.
Practically, these things came from Dr. Terry. They're helping me. I am walking every day outside. And sometimes that even drives you crazy. You're like, are you going out again? I'm going 3 miles a day outside. I'm walking no matter what. I'm getting the nature, the sunshine. I'm grounding. This was so funny the other day. You're driving around the house and you're looking at me and I'm standing barefoot in our lawn, just standing there. I think you probably thought she has lost it.
No, I really didn't. Grounding is very good. I'm interested to see how you're going to do that when it snows.
Oh, Lord help us. I don't know what to do. I might get, I don't know what to do. That's a good question. Infrared sauna. I've been driving across town to do that 4 or 5 times a week. Hyperbaric oxygen. All of those things on top of the supplements that Dr. Terry has recommended are the things that are helping me to break the cycle of extreme exhaustion. And I would say for me, it's just dealing with some fatigue. But with that said, I don't know if it can be fully broken as we talked about. So the part about that's so cool to me is it's continuing to evolve me outside of that I thinking, I can do this, I can take care of this, I can be there for my mom 90% of the time. I can be there for you. I can be there for my work. I can't. Like, I can be there, but what if I'm 30% maximized in what I'm doing instead of 90%? I can give my best 30% right now, and it's going to be powerful, but that's what I can give. And I have to count on the we in life, the community that we have, and the God-given support. I've had to be vulnerable and know that this journey is not about me. It is a we journey. And I'm so grateful for the community that has been there for us and the one that's forming as we speak. Mm-hmm. That's a very long answer to what you asked.
Well, a lot of physical, practical, relational answers to that. I think that the piece that I think would be helpful for those dealing with cancer is also the mental aspect, renewing your mind. How do you do that? Because I know there's times where there's been apathy, disappointment, mm-hmm. discouragement, fear. Those constructs move in on you. It's not like you created them. It's just like they're coming at you. So what do you do to shake that apathy or shake that type of opposition?
I think apathy sometimes comes from not feeling loved. Potentially, for me. Apathy can come from saying nothing makes a difference anyway.
Yeah.
That's a quitter's mentality. That does not resonate love. And if I'm feeling that way, it's probably the fatigue talking and not me. It's probably when I'm overwhelmed and have yet again tried in my own resources to fix me. And all the things I mentioned, the grounding, the hyperbaric oxygen, I think all of that is really important and necessary. But if I'm not communing with God through this process, I think you could throw all of that out of the out, because none of it really has the staying power that just being held by God has for me. And so to move me out of an apathetic state and into maybe an empathetic state, or a state where I even have empathy for me and for others around me and love, I have to receive love. And I do that in the morning very quietly, nourishing my spirit every morning when I have a choice when I wake up. Am I going to revolve around all the anxieties and the potential risks of what this health journey is? Or am I going to just wrap my faith into God, because he's already wrapped into me?
Well, your devotionals each morning that you write are powerful. People don't even realize you've written almost 2,500 devotionals, and we are going to have a devotional book. And they are your devotionals, and they're very powerful. The people that write back to you, they're deep, intercessory, mature Christians who have been brought to tears and also been inspired by your writings. So just that small group is growing. But I know once it's published, it's going to be a powerful message. It's going to be a light to those who feel like they're in darkness.
Thank you, Gordon.
But I know this. I know the aspects that just sharing it from a different journey of chronic pain. Mm-hmm. I know that and I still deal with fatigue.
You feel it today, don't you?
I feel it today.
Uh-huh.
If you're awake at 2:00 in the morning, okay, you're going to feel fatigue. And what happens to me is that I look at my purpose. Mm. I don't just sit there and focus on the fatigue. I look at my purpose. And the book, Seeking God, The Way of St. Benedict, very impactful book. Mm. I think anyone who's walking faith, I don't care what your denomination is, Catholic, Protestant, whatever, read the book. It's a great book. And I think with purpose, and I've done this for years, and you know this, I look at the stages of my purpose. Am I a workman? Am I in a season of preparation? In other words, working in God's workshop, which is usually with the Word of God and prayer and maybe writing, or as you're doing right now, journaling. That's what you do every morning. Or am I in a pilgrimage? Am I moving outward on the road of life, trailblazing with all of this stuff that I've done through preparation? And then have I reached stage 3, the discipleship mode, where I'm able to teach others, lead others, impact others more effectively? And sometimes when I'm fatigued, I don't try to get out of position. What can I do? Well, I can always pray. I can always be in that preparation mode. And it ends up being one of the most powerful places to be, because then you're preparing yourself to be a better pilgrim in life.
Good.
Then you don't even realize that God is already working on your behalf to help you be an effective disciple to others, or a mentor, or a coach, however you want to label that, with others. But to me, I'm looking at my purpose. When I'm fatigued, I think about purpose. I don't even think of identity, because I'm still an overcomer and have a lot of different things, even though I have low energy. My identity part says take a nap for 30 minutes. Okay. My purpose part says, what can I do with the phase that I'm in? And I don't try to do too much, because when I do too much, I just get more fatigued. And that's when all the other, that's when the warfare starts within me.
I dare say, I think people may not perish from pain as much as a lack of purpose.
Oh, totally agree.
If they don't find purpose beyond the pain, then that's where the strongholds take over, and where somebody feels that there's an unloving spirit that just tries to take over and conquer all the goodness. And that isn't what we're born for. We are not born to just exist and die. We have a destiny and a distinct purpose. Every single person listening, no matter what state of pain, no matter how far along in, a journey of cancer or other disease, or if no disease, no matter what, there is a purpose that is only intended for you. And it's very unique. And Gordon, I'm so proud of you that, you have 30 years of staying purpose driven.
Yes, I have.
In pain. And that's helped me find purpose faster as I'm going through my own journey, as things in my life are being dismantled, as years and years of what I've built feel like they're crumbling to some degree. It's like I'm embracing that change, because I know that's okay. I've watched you do that. I've watched you say, I have to surrender. Even if I don't want to, I'm letting go. So guess what? All this, even an office full of hoarding, because we're not using a space that we used to use in the office. And all of this furniture was so sentimental to me. I was like, I can't give it up. But this ministry, Reclaiming Hope, it's amazing that they get into a 12,000 square foot building at the time that we're making some changes with spatial things in our life. And what I could not let go of in the previous times, I am not just letting go of. I'm so exhilarated.
And you're giving away everything and our best. And yes. I love it. I love it.
It's exhilarating.
Yeah.
I don't want to wait to die to leave a legacy of love. I want to leave it now.
Yeah.
And if I live 50 more years, if God gives me that grace, I still want mortality motivation driving me. I want to be able to give up that stuff that's holding me back. And for me, I can't change my body right now in the sense of, I'm doing what I can, but sometimes we still have to walk through hard things.
Yeah.
But what can I do? I can shed all the unnecessary layers that are keeping me encumbered to this world and keeping me too tethered to life. I would say not life, but selfish life. Like holding on because I can't let go.
Can we make that your valuable takeaway?
Is it time to?
It is time. Can we make that your valuable takeaway?
We sure can, Tiger.
Okay.
We can do anything that you ask me to do.
My valuable takeaway, seeing you in cancer and some of the unintended consequences, would be this. You're a spiritual being first. That part of who you are, that's your real reality, doesn't have to be under the attack of fatigue like your body's going through right now. That part does get rekindled with the fire of the Holy Spirit and the love of God.
That's right.
That part awakens. That part can take steps. And where your spirit goes, your body will follow. So that's why I always go inward to what's inward and to who I am, my innermost being. Then the others can match up, the other parts of who I am.
That is genius.
That's the reality of what we're dealing with, and you're doing it in a marvelous way. So that's the end of the podcast show. Thank you for joining.
Thank you so much for tuning in.
You can still get a hold of us at gordonandcherise.com.
That's right. Thank you so much, and we'll catch you next time.